Okay, Rabbi Sai. So we're going to talk today about a bunch of disparate questions that you will not at first glance see any connection between them, but at the end you'll see how they are all intimately connected. The question number one is like this. We know in many communities by Yeshivat Ohr, the Rav is the one who makes the bracha. It's considered a honor to be the one to make the bracha in front of the whole entire congregation, and the Rav is usually accorded that honor. There was a story that there was once a Rav who actually forgot to count one night Yeshivat Ohr. Whatever the story was, he forgot to count. The next day comes to shul, and he's in front of hundreds of congregants, and he's the one who's supposed to make the bracha. Now we know, based on a shir we gave last week, 2 weeks ago, that if you miss one night, the strict halacha is you are not allowed to make the bracha. So here the Rav is, standing in front of hundreds of people, they're all waiting for him to make the bracha, and he knows that he's not allowed to say the bracha, because he missed. Should the Rav admit in front of his whole entire congregation that I cannot make the bracha and be mortified and be terribly embarrassed? Or should he go ahead and make the bracha anyway in order to save face, in order to save excruciating embarrassment? That is question number one.
This is the religious of Judaism or some other religion that we're asking about?
No. This is the Yeshivat Omer.
Come on, Rabbi.
This is the question. This is the... What do you think?
He has to embarrass himself.
He has to embarrass himself. There we go. Our very conservative or hard right doctor here says he's got to fess up in front of the whole entire crowd, rip his shirt and soldier scarlet, red, and show, yes, I am a sinner. Okay, that is what the doctor has decided, that the rabbi has to fess up and tell the whole entire community that he has missed one of the Yeshivat Ohrs. I'm sure he can make up some good story why he missed it, and therefore he cannot continue to make the bracha to everyone. Okay, that is question number one. Is that right or wrong? See, you're the doctor, so you're siding one way. I'm a rabbi, so I would have sided a little bit differently. So, but we'll talk about this more in length. We're going to get back to this. We are going to get back to this question at the end of this year. Question number two. A famous story in the Noda B'Yehuda. Now hold on, because this is one wacky story. There was a yeshiva bacher who was bordering by a family for 3 years. A fine yeshiva bacher. As you call in Europe, it used to be that there weren't dormitories, and many times the yeshiva boys would either definitely eat by balabatim, they would sometimes sleep in their houses. Fine. After 3 years, the family was so impressed with this boy that they gave him their daughter for shidduch. Kavod. So the boy became a member of the family, a son-in-law. Now, and this boy was a true Talmid Chacham, and we'll see to what extent. But sadly enough, there was a dark part of the story. What happened was, after this boy married his daughter-in-law, this girl, right, his wife, he came to the Noda B'Yehuda and said, I have a dark secret to reveal. Noda B'Yehuda says, yeah. I've been fooling around with the mother-in-law for the last 3 years. I have been sleeping with, it wasn't in the mother-in-law, with the matron of the house for the last 3 years. This was a story. This is maybe it's not like something in the 2000s. It's like a tshuva in the 1700s, famous tshuva. And Noda B'Yehuda says, wow, so what do you want to do about it? Now, so there were 3 parts of his shaila was, the halachic shaila was, do I have to tell my father-in-law? Right? Can you imagine that? The son-in-law says, Dad, I got to tell you something. Sit down. I think you should sit down for this one. Yeah, my daughter's expecting? Not exactly. That's not what I want to tell you. Not exactly. Does he have to reveal to his father-in-law that he's been living with his then, it wasn't the mother-in-law yet, but with his wife for the last 3 years? Why would he have to tell the father-in-law? Because the law is, we all know, a wife that cheats on her husband is usher to her husband. That's it. That's like open Gemara, open Halacha, one time. We spoke about this once, right? If a wife gets raped, depends on if the husband's a kain or not. But if a wife willingly cheats on her husband one time, you learn it from the pasuk v'nitma, you are forever and ever usher to live with your husband. So here we have a son-in-law who knows that his father-in-law and mother-in-law are living in sin. Why are they living in sin? Because he sinned with the mother-in-law before even though it was before that she was his mother-in-law, but she was a married lady, right? So those 3 years before he became a son-in-law, he was sinning with the mother-in-law. So he wanted to know, does he have to tell the father-in-law? Why would he tell the father-in-law? Father, I'm very sorry, you have to divorce your wife, you have to divorce your mother-in-law, right? Now, obviously, this won't be good for Shalom Bayis. This is not going to be a very happy story, right? That's what he wants to know tonight, Yehuda. Besides that, he asked tonight Yehuda how she do tshuva. How should he do tshuva? And the night of Yehuda, because he's about tshuva, and he became a big machmid, and he wanted to know what he should do. That's part of the tshuva we're not going to go through. His own wife is okay. Can you imagine that? His own wife is no problem. Why? His own wife is no problem. Once, it's a little complicated. Halacha is, if you live with a woman, Midaraisa makes, as long as they're married to your, let's say woman A, you can marry that woman's daughter, Midaraisa. Rabbinically, you're not supposed to marry the daughter. Rabbinically. But once they're married, if she did marry the daughter, they don't got to get divorced. Okay? It is true. A Muslim, you can't be married to you can't have your wife, can't be a mother and a daughter, but they were never married. He only cheated with the woman, and therefore, hence, he's okay. He can stay married to the daughter. I don't think if the story got out that they would be married too much longer, but that was the question. Again, he went to Rabbi Yehuda. He's all contrite, all with contrition. I want to know, do I have to tell my father-in-law? For the last 3 years, before I got married to your daughter, I was fooling around with your wife. Hence, you are usher to your wife. That was the question. They say, Rabbi, what does that got to do with Forbearing Omer? That's like a whole different ballgame. Oh, wait. Question 3. We're going to see how all these are connected. Question 3. There was a girl who had a less than positive past. She went off the derech a little bit, and she got impregnated. And sometime in the middle of the second trimester, she had an abortion. And very good. How do you know that? Amazing. And what happened was, the girl became a total Baal Tshuva. No one knew about the story. And lo and behold, she married a Haredi and Avrech, the best bacher in Lakewood or Ohr Somayach, whatever it is. And she gets pregnant, and the father's so joyous, so jubilant. It was a boy. They're gonna make a pidyon ben, and everyone is so happy. But the girl knows that this is not her first kid. The girl knows that this is not pet derechem. Right? This is not the opening of the womb. This is the second child. And halachically, even if you do abortion, most of the time, it's called a second child. So the husband is totally in the dark, totally benighted, has no idea what's going on. He has no idea about any of this. So he goes over to Rabbi Yosef, very good, and says, I got to tell my husband, you should know that this is not a bechor. Again, it's his bechor. That could be his bechor, but the halacha pidyon ben goes after the mother's bechor, right? Pet derechem. So he say, why? Because he's gonna make a whole pidyon ben. He's gonna make a bracha, 2 brachas. I think you make a shechianu. You can make a whole bracha. You make 2 brachas, and it's a bracha l'tola. It's a bracha in vain. So she went over. That was the question. Does she have to reveal to her avrei husband, the tamid, that you should know I had a previous past, and therefore, he didn't know about that either. We can give a whole share about that also, but he didn't know about that. Okay, that was the question. So I don't know if you noticed, there is something that. What is the through line? What is the connection of all these shilas? To avoid embarrassment. All of these issues are. Question was, serious Omer, the rabbi is going to be terribly embarrassed to admit to his congregants that he missed a night. Question number 2, well, if the son-in-law reveals to dad, much more than embarrassment. The whole family's going to break up. It's going to be a horrible situation. And question 3 is also about embarrassment. Embarrassment for the Baal Tshuva, embarrassment for the husband, It also may break up the family. These are the questions that we're going to deal with. So, how are we going to deal with these three questions? We're going to talk about a fourth question. The Trumas Hadeshen, an early, well not so early, but a Rishon, the Trumas Hadeshen has a Shiloh. There was a Kohen sleeping unclad, disrobed, right? Buck naked. The guy was sleeping with no clothes. You got it? Right? Fancy way to say it is, oh, not a real. No clothes. Fine. Sleeping, fine. The good old days was common, by the way. So, fine. And then all of a sudden, his roommate died. Never. But the Kohen doesn't know about it. The Kohen has no idea he's sleeping. He doesn't know about it. But his other roommate, we'll call him George, George knows that there's a dead guy in the room. And we know a Kohen cannot be in a room with a dead guy. It's a lav d'oraisa. Even if the Kohen is tummy 20 times already, he can't, the concept of becoming more tummy or being connected to him. So, the Trumas Hadeshen was asked, should the roommate George wake up the Kohen? He can't wake up the dead guy. Should he wake up the Kohen and say, you got to get out of here? And then the second the Kohen knows about it, he's got to run out of the street with no clothes on. That's right, that's the law. That was the question, right? The question was, the Trumas Hadeshen was asked, should George wake up the Kohen and tell him, there's a dead guy here, you got to run out, and the Kohen will be forced to run out of the street without no clothes. That was the question. Now,
Can't you take the mace out?
I guess that would be an option. Maybe he was like 500 pounds. I don't know. That wasn't the option. That wasn't the option. Yeah. Now. No, he's right. Take the mace out. No problem anymore. You're right. That was for some reason that wasn't the option. Oh, so or Trumas Hadeshen says maybe gently George should wake up the Kohen and say, Kohen, let's get dressed and go out for bowling, or let's go out to get a bite. The Kohen says, wake me up 3 o'clock in the morning. No. There's a fire, there's an emergency. Just get your clothes on. Don't tell him. And when the Kohen finally gets dressed, he say, run! Dead guy, then he'll run out. But at least he won't have to run out without any clothes. Right? That's the question. Meaning, so we have to have a little background to understand the question. That is clear like day. If the Kohen knows that there's a dead guy in the room, he has to run out without any clothes. No? Right. Excellent. Open Gemara. He has to run out without any clothes. I guess if it will take him 1 second to grab a blanket, but in principle, he's in the shower. And all of a sudden, he realizes there's a dead guy.
The shower is never entering.
If somehow other realizes there's a dead guy, you just got to run out in the middle of the street, unclad, unrobed. That's a given. That's a given. Why is that a given? Because it's an open Gemara. It's open Gemara in Brachas. The Gemara in Brachas talks about a similar case. The Gemara in Brachas talks about Omer the Rav, someone who's walking in the street and realizes he has kloyim. He realizes his suit is kloyim. The Gemara says you got to take off your clothes right there, in the middle of Times Square. I guess Times Square no one would notice, but it's somewhere else, in the middle of the street. You take off all your clothes, and that's it. Hamaitze come big day. Toishin afil b'shuk. What's the reason? A chachma in tefuna and eitz neged Hashem. Kol makom sheshchil Hashem ain't chokim kam l'rav. That when you're dealing with an aveira, we don't care about your embarrassment. And the halacha would even be if your rabbi is wearing shatnez and he doesn't, you just rip it off your rabbi. The rabbi's a little older, let's say it's hard for him to get up. Rip it off, right? That's the halacha. That is the halacha. Straight up halacha. And then he's walking around in his birthday suit in the middle of the street. That's the way it is. That's a given. So again, if the Kohen knows, then there's no question that he has to run out without any clothes, right? But there is in the Gemara itself, the Gemara gives 3 dispensations. There are 3 times the Gemara says gives you an allowance not to embarrass yourself. What are the 3 exceptions to the rules? One, if it's an issue of money, you're a venerable Rosh Yeshiva, and some little kid you see lost his little pocket watch and it's under the car. So say, oh, it's a mitzvah Shavas Aveda. No. You don't gotta. You do not have to embarrass yourself and go bend under the car and to do the mitzvah Shavas Aveda. When it comes to money issue, Kavod Habriyot, that's the key word here. The slogan, right? The mantra. Kavod Habriyot will trump mammon issues. Gemara gives example in Shavuos, Matzu Saka Kupa, Ein Darkelito. You find something negligible. You find some bags, a dirty bag that Rosh Hashivas don't walk around with. You don't got to pick it up. So that is allowance number one. Allowance number two, if it's a dira, well, that's not Kavod Habriyot. We're talking about, you're right. But we're talking about Kavod Habriyot. When does Kavod Habriyot knock out, trump? So he said Kavod Habriyot trumps if it's a money issue. Like we said, the Rosh Hashivas doesn't have to go under the car to pick up a lost item. Number two, example number two is a dirabanan. Any dirabanan, Kavod Habriyot knocks out the dirabanan. Pretty amazing. The Gemara gives an example. There's a whole procession of mourners. There's a kohen who's escorting them, and they go into an area that's tamei dirabanan. It's called a base pras. I don't want to get involved. The kohen should go in. What do you mean kohen should go in? It's tamei. No, it's not like tamei dirabanan. Kavod Habriyot for the kavod of the avelim. If for whatever reason the procession went through there. So that's dispensation number two. Kavod Habriyot knocks out a dirabanan.
It's not deraisa?
What?
For a Kohen, it's not deraisa.
We're talking about a cemetery that's dirabanan, called the Beis HaPras. There are certain it's complicated. I don't want to get involved in too much, but it's talking about a cemetery that's only dirabanan, meaning you don't really think there's dead people buried there. We're suspect. Maybe there's a guy, a dead guy is there, but let's not go there, okay? Then the Gemara gives another dispensation. What's dispensation number three? You are about to go bring your carbon Pesach. You're about to do a bris milah, and you find a mes mitzvah. What's the mes mitzvah? You find a dead person on the street. What's it called? A John Doe. You find a dead guy on the street. You don't even know who he is. A mes mitzvah. Don't bring the carbon Pesach. Don't do the bris milah on your kid. Bury the guy. Even though you won't be able to do the Pesach because you're tamei or you won't have enough time, whatever it may be. Why? Kavod Habriyot. Kavod Habriyot knocks out Pesach? Yes. Because how are you doing the avera of not bringing the carbon Pesach? Shav al taisa. By just not being passive. Now I know you actually actively make yourself tamei and you go to the dead guy and you actively are involved. But the bottom line is, how did he do the avera? What avera did he do when he did the carbon Pesach? How did he do the avera? He just didn't bring it. That's called shav al taisa. That's called passive. Right? It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference that you actually actively went to the dead guy and buried him. That's irrelevant. What's relevant is how did I not bring the carbon Pesach? How did I do the avera? By not bringing it. That's called shav al taisa. So, in review, what are the three dispensations for Kavod Habriyot? Number one, dirabanan. That was number two, but it's also good. Mammon. Number two, dirabanan. Dirabanan, even if it's kumvasei. That's the point. Dirabanan, even if it's kumvasei. Like the case I gave you, you are actually going into the rabbinical cemetery. Number three is shav al taisa. Dirabanan, mammon, shav al taisa. Kavod Habriyot knocks on all these three. But let's go to the case of the kohen or the guy wearing the kloim in the shizarabim. You're wearing kloim in the shizarabim. That's not called passive. That is called you're actively doing something. Something that's happening to your body is called you're actively doing it. So you're walking in the street. You got the kloim on you. Is it dirabanan? No. Is it money? No, not money issues. Is it kumvasei? Yep. You got to rip off your clothes. You don't got any of the three dispensations. You're in your room. A dead guy. You're clean. A dead guy suddenly appears. Is it dirabanan? No. Is it shav al taisa? No, that's not called shav al taisa again. Because anything happening to your body that you're doing with your body that's happening to you is called you're doing it. So Is it money? No. So therefore, it's kumvase, alav, you have to run out of the room. These are the Gemaras, right? Okay. So what? Yeah.
Just to go about it. By a case of the Korban Pesach, if the Kohen sees this, God sees it.
Let's not go there. That's the sugya in brachas. Let's not go there. There's about a kohen, another kohen gadol, a gantish. Let's leave that. Okay. Now, my friend. So here's the question. This is what we wanted to talk about today. This is the Chumat Hadeshin's question. Do we say, since the kohen is sleeping or doesn't know about it, do we say, since he's a shogeg, that is also a dispensation? Maybe shogeg means, it has to be very clear, shogeg doesn't mean that it inadvertent. Shogeg means that he doesn't know about it. He doesn't know about it. So the kohen is sleeping, doesn't know about anything. George knows about it. So the kohen is a shogeg. George, who knows about it, all he has to do is just not tell him. That's a shava al taiseh. That's not doing something. So the question is, since the kohen is a shogeg, and even though he's a kumvase, very clear, the kohen is a kumvase because he's in the situation. So the kohen is a kumvase, but he's a shogeg. George, who knows about it, is shava al taiseh. Just won't tell him. Do we say, don't tell him, don't embarrass the kohen, don't make him run out naked, don't make him run out of the street that way because of Kavod Habriyot? That is the truth. That's the question. Again, if the kohen knows about it, he's got to run out. No question. No clothes on. You have this construct where the kohen doesn't know about it. George knows about it. The kohen is a shogeg. George is shava al taiseh because George just won't tell him. Oh. So Truth Hadeshin says, good news. The Rosh actually talks about this, and the Rosh says, black and white. You see someone in the street wearing kloyim. You know that guy doesn't know about it. Do not tell him. You don't have to tell him. Get him to come to invite him over to your house for tea. When he comes to your house and tea, say, go, now take off your clothes. You don't tell the guy, because why? Why? Because Kavod Habriyot knocks out, trumps a situation where the guy who is the kumvase is a shogeg, and the one who knows about it is a shava al taiseh. That is the true Hadeshin, and great, wonderful. And the problem is the Rambam says not that way. The Rambam says it don't make no difference. The guy, the Rosh Hashiva, is wearing kloyim. He has no idea. The Rambam says black and white, sort of. Rip it off him. The Rambam says you should rip it off him. It doesn't make a difference that the one who is who's inadvertently sitting is a shogeg. He doesn't know about it. It doesn't make a difference. You got to right away tell him, take it off in the middle of the street. Okay? So right now, this is actually codified in the Shulchan Aruch. You're going to open up a Shulchan Aruch, and you're going to open up the Mechaber. Is going to say like the Rambam. Mechaber says, a kohen is sleeping in the room. He has no idea that there's a dead guy. George knows that there's a dead guy. George has to wake up the kohen right away, and the kohen's got to run around naked. Run out without any clothes on. The Ramah paskins like the Rosh. No, do not wake up the kohen, or wake him up, but tell him to come out, tell him to get dressed, we'll go out for tea, we'll go out for the movies, whatever it is, and then when we walk outside, then tell him what's going. Then tell him, by the way, there's a dead guy there, that's why I made you do all this, right? Okay? Same thing with the kloyim. The Rambam, the Shulchan Aruch brings down, a guy's wearing kloyim, he has no idea, you rip it off him. You go, what are you doing? Just rip it off him. And he's totally naked in the middle of the street. Right? Middle basement, no, makes no difference. And the Rosh says, no, and the Ramah says, no. Tell him, come to my house. When he's in a private area, you can tell him to take off his clothes. Okay, now. So, yes. So what in the world does, now, says the Beis Yosef, this machlokes between the Rambam and the Rosh is really dependent upon how you read. What was the girsa? What was the text of Gemara? Amr the Rav, Hamaitze kloyim big doy. That's one girsa. Or Hamaitze kloyim beged. Can we figure out who do you think has the girsa of beged, and who would have the girsa of big doy? The Rosh would have the girsa. Excellent, you're genius, Moshe. Bivigdo. The Rosh said Hamotze Kloim Bivigdo. Posted, meaning you know about it. You know about it, so you got to take off your clothes right away. The Rambam has a girsa Hamotze Kloim Beged, meaning it's not the one who's wearing the clothes doesn't know about it. Someone else knows about it. You've got to rip it off the other guy, even though the other guy's a shogeg. He's got to rip it off. So based on the girsa in the Gemara, we have this amazing, just one vav. Can you imagine what one vav could do? The question is the guy running around the street naked or not? Right? It's like a riddle. Riddle you can say at the Shabbat table. How could it be that with the vav how could it be that depending on the vav you run around naked in the street or not? There you go. If you have the girsa bivigdoi, that implies that only if the wearer of the kloyim or the koyin is a wearer, then he's got to run around without any clothes, just right, unclad. But if you have beged, that implies that the guy who's wearing it, hamotze kloyim bibeged, that implies that the one who's wearing the clothes or the koyin doesn't know about it. A third party knows about it. Still, that third party has to tell him right away, and even though the consequences are that people will be running around the street without any clothes on. Oh. Now we have the background. All we have now is the background. Now we can start talking about our shilas. Oh. In the case of the Noda B'Yehuda, now we got all the pieces. Our contrite, our remorseful son-in-law knows the situation. He knows that his father-in-law is living in sin with his mother-in-law. He knows. He knows. The father-in-law does not know. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. So, seemingly, based on the Rosh, Kavod Habriyot, it's all about Kavod Habriyot, right? Everything is about Kavod Habriyot. Since, what?
Is it Deraisa or the issue of sleeping with a woman that had a relationship with someone else?
That's Deraisa, yes. Well, all this question was Deraisa. When we talk about not waking up the kohen. The issue was a Deraisa issue. A kohen can't be in a dead guy's oil. But the issue of claim, when we talked about the case where the guy wearing the claim didn't know about it. That's all Deraisa. It's amazing. We're saying Kavod Habriyot is so strong, it knocks out Deraisas. Right? We said it comes out according to the Rosh. There are 4 dispensations. Dispensation number 1 is Mammon. Dispensation number 2, D'Rabbanan. Dispensation number 3, Shaval Taisei. Dispensation number 4, Shogeg. Shogeg. Shogeg, again, Shogeg is it's not a good terminology. Shogeg here means that if he doesn't know about it. So here we go. Let's put it down to our situation. Mr. Son-in-law came to Noda B'Yehuda. Right? Noda B'Yehuda. Comes to Noda B'Yehuda and says, should I tell dad? Noda B'Yehuda says, wait, let's see. The father-in-law is kum v'aseh. Every time he lives with his mother-in-law, it's kum v'aseh. No, it's not rabbinical. No, it ain't no rabbinical. It ain't money issues. No, it's not money issue either here. But is he a shogeg? Yet the father-in-law has no idea. He would not be happy to find out what happened while in his house for 3 years, right? So says the Noda B'Yehuda, based on the Rosh, you don't have to tell the father-in-law because it's Kavod Habriyot. You know what? You know what tragedy is going to befall that family? It'd be terrible, terrible embarrassment, divorce. Who knows what's going to happen, right? What's so proper, right? Who knows what's going to happen over this? So the Noda B'Yehuda said, based on the Rosh, you don't have to tell the father-in-law. He said, but according to the Rambam, you do have to tell the father-in-law because according to the Rambam, it's kum v'aseh. The father-in-law is living with the mother-in-law. It's not D'Rabbanan. It's not money, and Ram doesn't care about shogeg. He doesn't care that it's shogeg. Again, when I say shogeg, he doesn't care that the father-in-law doesn't know. And you, the son-in-law, know about it, so you have to tell him. Because the father-in-law, bottom line, is doing the very kum v'aseh. Oh, so, okay. So, seemingly, since the Noda B'Yehuda was in Prague, which is, he could pass like a rush. That's what it would seem. Oh, but then the Noda B'Yehuda says, no, I got bad news. Even according to Rush, you would have to tell the father-in-law. Why? Because even though the Rush says, when it's a shogeg, we're going to let you, because of Kavod Habriyot, will let the guy continue sinning, that's only a sin for an extra couple minutes. Like the case of the Kloim. So the Rosh Yeshiva is wearing Kloim. He doesn't know about it. I can tell him right this second, and he has to rip off his clothes in the middle of the street. I tell him, come to my house, and in 10 minutes I'll tell him. It's all a question of 10 minutes. Only there does the Rosh give this dispensation, since the Rosh Yeshiva doesn't know about it, since it's inadvertent, he doesn't know about it. You don't have to tell him right away. But what's going to be in our case over here with the father-in-law and mother-in-law? It's forever. Who knows how many times they're going to live together? It could be for 10, 30, 40 years. Who knows? It's going to be a long time continuation of sinning. So here for the night of Yehuda came out, our son-in-law has to tell the father-in-law. I don't want to be there when that happened. It was 300 years ago, so it's okay. Whatever happened, happened, right? That our son-in-law must tell the father-in-law, Dad, I got bad news. Yeah, you can't live with your wife anymore because for 3 years when I was at the border, I was living with her, and that's what he paskins at the end of the day, even according to the Rosh. Okay? That's what he paskins. Okay.
Wasn't the case of Kalayim a case of like that was like continuous like sin in theory?
No, you get it. No, because by Kalayim, it's a question of just taking the clothes off right this minute in the street, or getting them to a private place. It's a 10 minutes. It could be 5. Same thing by Kalayim. How long was the issue? It was just to get him out of the house. The issue of the Kalayim was just to get him dressed. That's all the issue. That could be a bit of a minute issue, a 5-minute issue. George just had to get the Kalayim dressed. He had to make some excuse to get him dressed. Or in the case of the Kalayim, you just got to get him in a private area. But the case of the son-in-law and the father-in-law over here, this story over here, yeah. This story.
The son-in-law making himself a Russia?
Okay. Excellent. Now, the doctor brought up something. This question, sadly enough, is a very modern day question. It happens all the time. I mean, not all the time, not the son-in-law and father-in-law business, but the women cheating and trying to hide it from the husband. Yeah. There are many moving parts to this question. I can't go through all the different parts. Halacha l'maisa we don't pass like the Nadi B'Yehuda, for whatever reason. I don't want to get involved. Why not? It's too difficult. But right now, this is what the Nadi B'Yehuda says, based on that even the Rosh would not say Kavod Brius works in this case, even though it's Shagi. The Emek HaShela, who was the brother-in-law of the Direi Chaim, says, Nadi B'Yehuda, you're wrong. So why is he wrong? Seemingly all the parts make sense. So there are a couple, but the reason that I'm going to concentrate on is the Emek HaShela says, wait a minute. Even the Rosh and the Rambam, who say, that are arguing, do you have to tell the Rosh Yeshiva? Again, Rosh Yeshiva doesn't know about the Kohen. The Kohen has no idea of the dead guy. Even the Rosh and the Rambam that are arguing, do you have to tell him? Don't you have to tell him? It's only when the guy's a shogeg, like Kohen. The Rosh Yeshiva is wearing Kohen. Maybe he should have checked a little bit better. Maybe he should have could have done a due diligence. He could have brought it to Shatnez land. Maybe he could have. It's a shogeg. But pray tell, should the father-in-law think that his wife is sleeping with his future son-in-law? No. That is an onus. That is like, in your wildest dream, you don't think that's happening, right? In your wildest dreams, you shouldn't be thinking that your wife is cheating on you. So, says the Emek HaShela, you, the Nadi B'Yehuda said, even according to the Rosh, the son-in-law would have to fess up to the father-in-law. He says, no. Even according to the Rambam, the son-in-law doesn't have to fess up to the father-in-law. Why? Because the father-in-law is not a shogeg, he's an onus. And since he's an onus, it's totally not his fault. And again, it's all about Kavod Brius. It's all about Kavod Brius. Since it's the issue of Kavod Brius, and the father-in-law has no idea, and it's not his fault at all, it's an onus, you don't have to tell him. You don't have to tell him. This is what the Emek HaShela, that's what his psak din was. Now, there's a problem with all this, because we're avoiding, what about the woman? The woman also can't live with the wife also can't live with the husband. So I'm avoiding that. There's a way out of that too, but I don't want to go there right now. So B'kitzer, there are also other issues that I want to get involved in. Maybe the husband won't believe them. there's a lot of moving parts here. So I don't want to avoid the halacha, it gets very complicated. But bottom line is, what I wanted to focus us on the Kavod Habriyot issue. So if we stop right now, which we're not, but we stop right now, what do we see? We saw. That's amazing. Kavod Habriyot almost knocks out every single Avera. It knocks out a Durabbanon. It knocks out any money issue. It knocks out Shaval. It knocks out. It knocks out the Shaval Taisei. It knocks out Shaval Taisei. And according to the Rush, it knocks out where the person is doing it doesn't know he's doing something wrong. And according to Eidim Shela, even the Rambam would agree that it knocks out if it's an oinus. The person doesn't know about it, it's not a fault at all. Right? So it comes out the only case that we know for sure it doesn't knock out is, like we said, you're walking in the street, you know it's kloyim, you got to rip it off right away, because then you have nothing. It's kum v'aseh, it's a lav, it's not. You have no dispensation, you have no allowance, you have no redeeming characteristic here to let it off. Oh. So now let's get to our Pidin Ben Shaila. So I don't know how you knew this, but right, there's a question that was presented to Rabbi Yosef with the story of the Pidin Ben. So she comes and says to her, do I have to tell my husband, don't do the Pidin Ben? Don't do the Pidin Ben, because, hey, this is not the first kid. This is not my first kid. So what do we have? Same thing. If she's quiet, what's going to be? He'll be Oiven Avera. The Kum V'aseh is true. It's Kum V'aseh. He'll be doing it. It's going to say he'll be doing it. Kum V'aseh. But he is a shogeg, maybe even onus. So maybe for Kavod Habriyot, again, for Kavod Habriyot, she'll say, if I tell him, the marriage can fall apart. He'll be terribly embarrassed. He'd have to tell the whole family. Oh, why you not doing the Pidin Ben? Oh, I just found out my wife's a Levi, Bas Levi. Really? You have to make it a crazy story. Whatever. Yeah, but let's say, yeah. So it's gonna be an issue of Kavod Habriyot. So based on the rush, she should keep quiet. Let him make the bracha levatala. Make the bracha levatala, no problem. Because again, shogeg, Kavod Habriyot. She's a shaval taiseh because she's just not saying anything. He's the one doing kum v'aseh, but he's a no. So Kavod Habriyot should knock it out. Even according to the Rambam, if you look at Eidim Shela, we can assume he's an oinus. I mean, he should think his Beis Yaakov wife had an illustrious past or unillustrious past, right? Okay. Oh. But the truth is, my friends, we have a much better heter here. Bracha levatala is a derabbanon. To make a bracha in vain, according to 99% of Rishonim, it is a derabbanon. If you look at the Ten Commandments, it says, do not say God's name in vain. Lo yitis Hashem right? We have it over there. But that passage is talking about if you make a shvuah in vain, or you just say God's name in vain for absolutely no reason. But a bracha levatala, let's say right now, what's so bad? I said, blessed be God that He made everything. What's the end of the world? Such a bad thing. So according to 90% of Rishonim, it's a big sugya. I need another hour to go through all the sources. That bracha levatala is only Rabbanon. So think about it. Now we have this. I'm quoting Ravad now. So this story. Besides the fact she's a shogeg. Besides the fact he's a shogeg. Besides the fact he's an oinus. You got a better heter. He's D'Rabbanan. We said by D'Rabbanan, even if it's not a shogeg, even if it's not an onus, you gotta get, what's the law? A kohen is in a procession with the mourners. The mourners go into a cemetery, that's a rabbinical cemetery. Everyone knows everything. The kohen can go right in. Because Kavod Habriyot of the mourners trumps any D'Rabbanan. So forget about the fact that the husband doesn't know about it, and it's an onus. Forget about all of that. Forget about all that stuff. It's only D'Rabbanan. Bracha v'tala is only D'Rabbanan. Obviously, if the husband would know about it, then it would have all. maybe according to even the husband knows about it. Maybe if he doesn't want to get embarrassed from his family. But it all depends on who's getting embarrassed here. The one who's really going to get embarrassed is the wife. That's the one who's really going to get embarrassed. So once the husband knows about it, it doesn't make much of a difference. But in principle, so that is the So it comes out the girl should not tell the husband. A, it's a shogeg. B, it's an onus. B, it's only d'rabbanan anyway. Bracha was only d'rabbanan anyway. And Kavod Habriyos to save face for herself and the family. She doesn't got to tell. What about the money? What about the claim? Those are side problems. What about the money? The claim's getting the money illegally. Those are side issues. Those are side issues. It's not the big deal. I'm sure the husband would rather not know and let the guy keep the money. So okay, you got that? Now, here's the kicker. So you tell me, Rabbi, fine. By the case of the Pidyon Haben, why do you have to talk about that? The husband doesn't know. The husband's an onus. Just say bracha v'tal d'rabbanan, and that's it. That's it. We said Kavod Habriyos knocks out d'rabbanan. The thing is, I said 99.9% of Rishonim hold bracha v'tala is d'rabbanan. There's one major reason it's not the way. The Rambam. The Rambam, it's questionable, but many learn that the Rambam holds bracha v'tala is d'oraisa. So if you learn bracha v'tala is d'oraisa, according to the Rambam, you're a little bit of a problem. Because then the Avrech will be making a bracha v'tala. That's a kumva essay, right? So that's why you'll need all the other reasons. One is it's a shogeg. One is it's an onus. And two is according to 99.9%, it's d'rabbanan. But we want all the different, that's when everyone learns a tshuva sefer, they always try to cover all different angles. They always try to stack as many reasons as possible. Because always there's one reason that's a problem that someone may not hold of. So, Kitzur Nimritz, Avad Yosef, and every other, a lot of talk about this, tell the girl, do not reveal to your Charedi Avrech, let him do the Pidyon Haben, let him make the bracha, he doesn't have to know about it, and it's not a big deal. Okay? So back to our story. Back to our Shiloh. Now we're back to the rabbi. Now I see the doctor not so gung-ho anymore. So here we are. We have our half. Now, here we got to get it straight. By the rabbi, he knows exactly what's going on. And don't be mistaken and say, well, maybe he missed the Spheres to Omer because God forbid, he had a car accident. It doesn't make it. That's irrelevant. Why he missed the Spheres to Omer? It doesn't make a difference whether why he missed the Spheres to Omer. That's not the issue. The issue is now he knows that he's not to make a bracha. He knows that. It doesn't make a difference why. And very good. But now, if we're going to say, it really depends on the person, it really depends on the congregation. He may lose, if he doesn't make the bracha, they'll say, what happened? Oh, I missed one. Oh, we're firing you. Depending on the situation, but I would assume it's pretty embarrassing for a rabbi to admit to everyone. It's pretty embarrassing. That's the Kavod Habriyos issue here. So now, wait, you're way ahead of me. So now, there's the rabbi at the pulpit. He's about to, should I make a bracha or not? I know the truth. I know this is a bracha l'vatala, according to the Bahag. Yeah, but if I don't do it, it's going to be very, very embarrassing for me. So the chayra, since bracha l'vatala is only d'rabbanan, and we said that Kavod Habriyos knocks out d'rabbanan, so seemingly our rabbi, without any hesitation, should make the bracha in public with a clear conscience, because Kavod Habriyos knocks out a d'rabbanan, even though the rabbi's konvasei. That's right, it's konvasei, he's saying it, and he knows about everything. They don't got that heter, but you do have the heter of d'rabbanan, because bracha l'vatol d'rabbanan. Okay? That's what I would. You're gonna say, wait a minute. No, I don't think so. You'll tell me, yeah. You'll tell me, is that, so different, couple of issues here. I believe that this is enough called Kavod Habriyos. I do believe so. The Gemara talks about a case where, the Gemara in Shavuos Daf Lamed talks about a case where a venerable rabbi, an older rabbi, doesn't want to present himself in court to testify for someone else. Meaning, the rabbi is not, nothing to do with him, it's not his court case. But he's going to present himself to a lower court. And there the Gemara, Tyson equivocates. Is that called Kavod Habriyos or not? You hear? So you got a Rosh Yeshiva, venerable Rosh Yeshiva, doesn't want to appear in front of a court that's on a lower level than him. Now, how embarrassing is that? How embarrassing is that? Like, big deal. And still, Tosfos here equivocates if that's enough. So I think that a rabbi having to announce to the whole world that he misfears Omer, it's pretty embarrassing. So that would be my feeling. Oh, so you're going to tell me, wait 1 minute, Rabbi, fine. This is all good if you say that bracha l'vatol is d'Rabbanan. So then the rabbi says, listen, bracha l'vatol is d'Rabbanan. I got a Kavod Habriyot issue over here. Kavod Habriyot is not d'Rabbanan. But we said according to the Rambam, maybe, bracha l'vatol is d'Oraisa. So then you're in trouble. Why are you in trouble? Because then you have no allowance, you have no dispensation. It's d'Oraisa, it's kum v'aseh. You know about it. The rabbi knows about it. It's not the Mammon issue. It's not Shabbat. Oh. But the truth is, you don't have a problem. I'll explain to you why. Because this whole thing that when you miss, we gave a shir about this. This whole law that if you miss one night, you can't make a bracha again, is whose shita? The Bahag. The Bahag is the chiddush. We gave a whole shir about this. That what? The Bahag holds the 49 nights are 49 parts of one mitzvah. If you miss one part, you're out. I'm not going to go through the whole complicated part of this year. The simple shot of Bahag, 49 parts. Oh. So all we have to do is to make it work out according to Bahag. The Rambam, if you open up a Rambam, he actually holds if you miss one night, you make a bracha anyway. He doesn't hold the Bahag. He says that if you miss a night, you continue the next night you make a bracha. So let's go to the rabbi. Here's the rabbi. The rabbi is like a quick thinker. Oh my gosh, I got to make a bracha now. Should I make a bracha now or not? Well, we're not really supposed to make a bracha. That's what we're chayshish for the Bahag. We're chayshish for the Bahag that maybe I'm not supposed to make a bracha because I missed one night, so I'm not allowed to make a bracha. Wait, but Kavod Habriyot is here. Kavod Habriyot, and bracha l'tol is only d'Rabbanan. So Kavod Habriyot knocks out bracha l'tol. Yeah, but the Rambam holds bracha l'tol is d'Oraisa. Yeah, but according to the Rambam, I don't get the problem in the first place because the Rambam paskins even if you miss a night, you still make a bracha. So our rabbi, I would say, unequivocally, with your permission, doctor, I would unequivocally say that the rabbi should make the bracha and not endure any type of embarrassment. And I'll tell you something else over here. We don't really paskin like the Bahag. That's another thing here. I know if you miss one night, you don't make a bracha. We're chayshish for the Bahag. For example, let's say it's like this. Let's say you're at day 30, and you're not too sure if you missed day 2, 4, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 8. You're not too sure if you missed all these days. Right? Again, if you miss for sure, we're chayshish for Bahag. We're suspect for the Bahag. And don't make a bracha. But let's say you have a slight chance that maybe you're good. What does that mean, a slight chance? Well, out of the 30 days, you're not sure if you missed 20 of them. You're not sure. The Halacha is make a bracha. Why? Because we're only chayshish for the Bahag if we're 1,000% sure that you messed up. Because this that we hold, most Rishonim don't hold the Bahag anyway. If you for sure missed the night, you're out. But if there's any slight chance that you're okay still, even though it's very slight, because you have a son about 20 days, you still make a bracha. So I would have said personally, you know what? Even if bracha l'vatol is d'Oraisa, and even if it's kum v'aseh, I would say still make the bracha, because this whole shash of the Bahag. This that we pass like Bahag is only a chumrah. I would say b'makom Kavod Habriyot, we don't have the chumrah Bahag. But the last thing I'm saying is saying I don't need to come on and say bracha l'tol d'Rabbanan. I don't need to say, the Rambam. I could just say this shash the Bahag. We're only paskin when okay, don't make a bracha. But if there's any reason why you want to make a bracha, it's good enough. So bottom line is, I would tell the rabbi, no problem, make the bracha with a conscious heart. Now, we're going to end up over here. There is another way for the rabbi to get out of this problem. This is another whole shiur. What would be another way for the rabbi to get out of the problem?
Get the government to do it.
That's not getting that's not getting out of the problem. If the rabbi does it, then everyone knows the rabbi missed. What the rabbi could do is go to one congregant. And one congregant say, listen, my friend, I don't want the whole world to know that I missed saying the bracha. I'm going to make the bracha for you. He goes to the one congregant and says, you don't make the bracha. I'll make the bracha for you. I'll be moitzi you. And then you avoid the problem. Why do you avoid the problem? Because even though the rabbi shouldn't make the bracha, but you're allowed to make a bracha for someone else. Right? Let's say you blew shofar already. You finished shofar, you're done. Could you make a bracha for someone else to blow shofar? Of course. Aravis, Arvis. Right? So this is another way out of it. Another way out of it is the rabbi goes to one congregant, tells that congregant, don't make the bracha. Again, the congregant could count. That's not a problem. But the congregant shouldn't make a bracha. Then the rabbis might see the congregant. So only two people know. The congregant and the rav. And no one else knows that the rav missed. And that would be a possible eitzah. But Yonatan is way ahead of the game. Because he already said something that it's not so posh that's an eitzah. Why not? Why not? Because could a woman, could she make a bracha for a man?
No, she's not chayav.
Excellent. Could a man who already did the shofar, could he make a bracha for another man? Yes. Yotza Moitzi. Yes. This rabbi, if you think about it, is a quasi situation. If we're chayshish for the bahag, the rabbi is not chayiv anymore for Sfiras Omer. So how could he be motzi the other congregant in Sfiras Omer? Yeah, but the rabbi is not like a woman. He is chayiv in principle. It's just he messed up this year. So you got it? You got two ends of the spectrum. Woman cannot be motzi man. A man who already did the mitzvah could be motzi another man. That's called yotza motzi. What is this rabbi? This rabbi can't do the mitzvah anymore in the Bahag's world, right? In the Bahag's world. But he's not like a woman because he really should be doing the mitzvah. He just can't do it this year because he messed up. So this is a great machlokes in the Rishonim. So therefore, this eitzah of telling the congregant is not so pashut if it works. Most, come on, 99.99% say it does work. That you're not like the rabbi who can't do the Sfiras Omer anymore, i.e. according to the Bahag, is considered still chayiv in the mitzvah. So he could be mitzi another man. He's not like a woman. He's like the guy who is yotza, that he can still make a bracha for someone else. Okay? Bottom line is, my friend, I would say the rabbi make the bracha. I would tell him not to tell the congregant because it's too complicated, it's not so sure. Why should the congregant risk his neck for the rabbi? I would just say, rabbi, make the bracha, no problem. Forgetfulness to hate. You don't got to get your contract annulled. You don't got to embarrass yourself in front of everyone. This is my perspective. This is what I would say. So we talk about three shilas. Kohen running out of the house naked because of a dead guy, if he knows about it or not. A guy taking off clayim off a guy's suit, if he knows about it or doesn't know about it. We talked about the son-in-law not behaving with his future mother-in-law. Does he have to tell the dad? We spoke about the Pidin Ben, and all of these, as we see, are all what's the bottom line? It's all about, in one sentence, what does Kavod Habriyot knock out? That's what it's about, and we saw some amazing things here. That a lot of dispensations given for Kavod Habriyot, and this is very appropriate for Sfiras Omer, where there was a lack of Kavod Habriyot among the Kibbutz students. So this is we're seeing here how important it is the concept of Kavod Habriyot. Academically, it could trump many mitzvahs in the Torah. Okay, Rabbi.